Most diets fail because they only focus in on food. Welcome to Talkin Sh, the podcast where we get real about the unfiltered truths women face in the quest for perfection. I'm Jana, your host, a dietitian and fellow woman navigating the pressure to have it all together, the perfect body, career, relationships, and making it all look effortless. Who set that standard anyway? Here, we're calling out the diet fads, hustle culture, beauty standards, and everything else that keeps us feeling stuck. But we're not just venting, we're diving into how to break free and rewrite the rules on your terms. So grab a coffee or a glass of wine and let's talk some shit. Together, we'll uncover how to live a life that's unapologetically yours. This is Talkin Sh. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today, I am going to do a solo episode, just expanding our definition of what it means to truly care for yourself. So this is a line that I use a lot with my coaching clients because I really take a very different approach when I am supporting individuals to be able to lose weight, to be able to balance their hormones, because yes, the two things are very different, and to just really feel like their best self. So there's so many pieces to the puzzle when it comes to our bodies, our biology, and really being able to support them. And oftentimes in this space of weight loss or eating healthy or feeling your best, I feel like we do a really bad job of supporting individuals. And so I like to change that up. I like to do a very different approach with my coaching clients to support you as a whole individual. And here's why. So if we really just start with the truth, most diets fail because they only focus on food. So I'm going to repeat that again. Most diets fail because they only focus in on food. Now, I say food is part of the equation, but is not the entirety of the equation, because as a well-being expert, I know that there's so many other things that impact why you eat certain foods, your cravings, how you treat your body, the things that make you feel like you have energy. There's so many other variables than just food. And again, I don't want to isolate to food being the cure for everything. Now, certainly as a dietitian, I believe that food is foundational for you to feel well. And I also want to encourage you in this episode to expand that view of what it means to care for you. Now, as we're looking at this, I like to, again, think about what makes the person feel their best. And I have these 5 pillars or these 5 buckets that I really like to support individuals in creating for their health and well-being. So I consider myself a behavioral-based dietitian. And a lot of times people are like, oh, you lost me. You're like, what does that actually mean? So let me share a little bit more about what that does mean and why I like to expand into these other buckets for your health and well-being. So as a behavioral-based dietitian, what I believe is that everything you do on a daily basis matters and it adds up. So the way that you think, the way that you move, the way that you eat, it all adds up to you feeling healthy, confident, and strong in your body, or maybe feeling the opposite. But when we look at that, here's why I get really, really passionate about it is if we believe if we take it from the stance that everything you do matters, because it truly does, we know that biologically and genetically, it really matters. So let me share with you why this actually is from that science lens, not just something that I think to be true. So I did my undergrad at UC Davis, and during that time, it was really the trend at that time was that genetics determined everything about your health, and really that you didn't have any control over it. It's like what you got is what you got, and you again have no control. But when I was there, this field called nutrigenomics came out. Now, nutrigenomics basically is the study of how nutrients, the food that we consume essentially, can change your DNA. What that really means is that the nutrients that you eat can either turn on, turn off, or keep neutral your gene expression. And what they found is that, yes, in fact, this does happen. Based on the foods that you eat, you can what they call upregulate gene expression, you can downregulate gene expression, or you can keep it neutral. So I want to share just something from my own story is I have the genes for obesity. Now on both my mom and my dad's side, there's weight concerns, there's diabetes, there's hypertension, there's cardiovascular, like we have all of it. We have cancer. And so I did some testing and found out that, yes, I do have those genes. However, those genes are not expressed at this time. They are remaining neutral. And this is just fascinating. So think about that. So it's not it's not in your family. It's not in your genes. You have the ability to change what your body actually expresses based on the things that you do in your lifestyle from a day-to-day perspective. And that's what I think is so cool because, again, it tells us that, yes, everything you do does matter. And the thing that I love the most is that it empowers you with control. Now, that's a big one because a lot of people don't feel empowered when it comes to their health and they don't feel like they're in control. And maybe that's what you're experiencing too, but it doesn't have to be this way. And so that's where this model that I use with my coaching clients in my group coaching program really stemmed from is knowing this information and knowing the things that we can do on a daily basis to be able to support you in feeling your best. So let me share with you those 5 pillars because it really allows us again to expand what it means to truly care for your body. So first and foremost, we'll start with nutrition. Yes, nutrition is certainly foundational. We know that how you eat food determines a lot of how you feel throughout the day, particularly as it relates to your cravings for certain foods, your mood, that is a big one, your gut health, your immune system, how you see yourself, even from a body confidence or a body self-esteem perspective. A lot of times the way that we eat food can enhance or hinder how you see yourself. So yes, the food on your plate matters and it can contribute to how you feel. However, there is not a one-size-fit approach to nutrition. And this is something that I see just really in the social media realm is that you do this and you get this result when it comes to food. It's not true. I want to be just very honest with you on this. You could, let's take this for example. Again, I love to use myself as a case study because I think it's helpful to just learn from an application perspective. And also, like, I eventually will probably donate my body for science. Like, I just love this stuff. So let's take myself for example. So there is information out there on consuming dairy and that it actually can be anti-inflammatory, right? Like we think about, and also good for balancing our hormones and building muscle. Think about the craze right now with cottage cheese, right? Or Greek yogurt, right? Like these are things that we can add into your diet to increase protein intake, get it from lean sources, make sure you have adequate calories, help you with balancing out your hormones, whether it be regulating your insulin levels, or even your estrogen levels, right? Like there's so many different things that we can use dairy for. However, if you take myself as the example, I am lactose intolerant. I can eat a small amount of dairy and do okay, but I can't eat large volumes of dairy. So for me, dairy would not be the answer. And maybe for some of you that are tuning in, dairy is not the answer either. Maybe it causes more gas or bloating or discomfort or acne. Who knows? Because your body is very unique and it interacts with food differently than, say, your neighbor or best friend or husband or coworker. Very differently. So when it comes to nutrition, we can't, or I don't take a one size fits all approach. We have to know how your body responds to it. So yes, we have these general recommendations and we know what works for mass populations from a public health perspective. But when it comes to what works for you, you have to be part of the equation too. And that's where I encourage my coaching clients to really tune in to their bodies to see what works best for you. Hey, friend, quick question before we dive into today's episode. Does dinner stress you out more than it should? Because if you're like most women I talk to, figuring out what to make every single night feels like another full-time job. So if you're tired of the daily what's for dinner stress, I've got something just for you. I've created the What's for Dinner guide with 50 quick, healthy, and blood sugar friendly recipes that are perfect whether you're cooking for yourself or your whole family. No more second guessing, no more last minute takeout, just real food made simple. Grab your copy for just $9, click the link in the show notes, and make dinner the easiest part of your day. All right, now I'm back to the episode. But seriously, don't wait. Your weeknight sanity will thank you. Pillar number 2 is movement. So they have found on average, most Americans move their body about 17 minutes a day. Not enough. We need about 300 minutes a week if your goal is to lose weight or to be able to regulate your blood sugar or lower blood pressure or cholesterol. We need it to be at least 300 minutes per week. But when we're looking at movement, I like to think of it as and I say movement versus exercise because I want to find ways that you can move your body throughout the day versus just being in a seated position. So they're calling work behind the computer. They're calling it essentially the new cigarette, is that the more that we sit, the more likely we are to have a lot of these, for lack of very professional terms, things go wrong with our body, right? So the more we sit, the more we typically see that. Versus the more that we move our body, typically speaking, the better that we feel. So I want to find different ways that you can move your body to feel really good, really confident, and that's really sustainable and effective. So if you don't like riding the bike, which I don't because I fall off the bikes all the time, then why are we going to have you do that, right? Like, we're not going to have you do that. We're going to have you find something that you actually like to do. But if you like to walk, like I do, then we're going to find that way to walk and we're going to do it consistently. So we want it to be something that you actually want to do. And bonus point, something that you really enjoy doing. Again, it has to work for you, not your best friend, not your husband, not your coworker, not the influencer that has no idea who you are. It has to work for you. Third bucket. So we have nutrition, we have movement, and I go into so much more detail in my one-on-one coaching and also in my group coaching program because there's so many layers to these things. Because it's one thing to know the information, it's completely other, like, it's different to apply the information. And that's where coaching comes in, is that we take that knowledge that you already have or maybe know about, and we work to apply it to your real life. So number 3, now this area, it's interesting. So typically, now I know I'm a dietitian. I know, like I focus on food, and food certainly is foundational. However, more and more with women, I'm really looking at movement, sleep, then nutrition. So we categorize it, or I like to categorize the level of importance in your lifestyle based on the symptoms that you're sharing with me. And a lot of times we're reworking that, and nutrition is not the number one thing, and for various reasons. But I wanted to share that because in number 3, this is something that a lot of women share with me, particularly if we're looking to address emotional eating or stress eating, or feeling like you're restricting and then you're binging on the weekend, or feeling like you can go and be successful on your diet Monday through Thursday, but then Friday through Sunday, you feel off track. This is the bucket for you. This is stress management, or what I like to say, joy creation. So again, I like to level set with individuals. I'm not here to sugarcoat things. I'm here to support you, guide you, but also tell you the reality of what's holding you back so that you can get the results that you're looking for. And in this area, we have so many individuals that are experiencing very high levels of stress and have no idea that they're experiencing high levels of stress because they've been dealing with it for so long. And so because they are, and maybe you fall into this category as well, you've experienced years of high stress. It's now your normal and it feels fine or it feels okay, but it's not okay to the body. So here's how I know if someone is like really, really stressed and maybe they're not aware of it, is they're not sleeping at nighttime, getting those 7 to 9 hours of sleep. They're drinking more alcohol than what they like to. They are binging or eating foods such as like sugary foods, savory foods like chips, more often than what they want to. They really find it hard to connect with individuals and find that they've pulled back from social situations. These are all signs. Maybe that you're not even able to rest without feeling guilty. Again, these are all signs that probably stress is part of the equation, and we need to really find ways to manage it and have outlets for it, because the reality is that stress is going to be part of everyday life. Life is not going to get less stressful. However, what we can build is where you feel that you can manage it, that you have outlets to close what we call the stress loop for your body so that you feel more confident and resilient to take on everything that throws your way. And one way that we do this is we create more joy in your life. So if life sucks, like if you feel like life sucks and you're like, I just, go to work, take care of the kids, go to bed, everything on repeat, and then I scroll because it's my only time where I actually get to myself, then I'm talking to you. We need to find ways where you are managing your stress, you have those outlets, and that you are creating that joy that is part of your health equation, part of the ways that we help your health win, and that you feel like, oh, I'm not sabotaging my progress. I feel like when I have these stressors, I'm able to manage them. I know how to navigate stress without instantly going to food, because food doesn't solve the problem of stress, typically makes it worse. You're able to regulate your nervous system. You're able to bring down those stress hormones so that you're now able to lose weight, right? Like all these things start falling into place when we actually start to manage and identify stress and then create outlets for it. And this is something that I just dive into so much and support my clients on, whether it be one-on-one or in my group coaching program, because if we can't regulate your nervous system, we are not going to be able to stay consistent, and you're not going to be able to feel like, oh, I feel good in my body again. Okay, I could talk about that topic forever because it's a big one for most people. Number 4 and 5. So number 4, you're seeing a lot of this, and maybe you're hearing a lot more of it, of the importance of sleep. Now, why do I talk about sleep as a dietitian is because we know that if we are sleep deprived, or if we are not getting enough sleep overall, we know that you can't out diet it and you can't out exercise poor sleep. Just doesn't happen. We know that you typically burn fewer calories throughout the day, and we also know that your hunger hormones, particularly leptin and ghrelin, are likely out of balance. And so you could be trying just like by sheer like willpower or motivation, which probably you can only do for so long, to eat healthy and exercise. But if you are constantly exhausted, it's not going to work. So sleep is when your body heals, your metabolism resets itself, if you will, and your hormones also start to regulate themselves. So I mentioned leptin and ghrelin, which are our main hunger hormones, but this is also where insulin regulates itself, with where cortisol, our stress hormone, regulates itself. So there's so many hormones that regulate themselves at nighttime for you to be able to lose weight, bring down your blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol, whatever you may be focusing in on. This is when your body does it, and we need to create that time and space for you to be able to do that. And then number 5 is safe sun exposure. So this one typically surprises a lot of people, but it's a really powerful one because getting sunlight safely helps you regulate your circadian rhythm, which is connected with your sleep cycle and also your mood. It helps support vitamin D levels, which, yes, we call it a vitamin, but more and more we're thinking of it as another hormone in the body, particularly connected to being able to regulate your mood and your blood sugar levels and your weight. Safe sun exposure also helps you stabilize your mood. So more individuals express that they have less anxiety and depression when they're able to get out in the sunlight. And it also helps us with regulating our appetite. So it's a big one, and one that I encourage more individuals, again, in my coaching program and in my group coaching program, to be able to implement in their lifestyle, because too many of us spend a lot of time inside behind screens, which really throws off our circadian rhythm, our hormones, our hunger hormones, and ultimately just how you feel in your body. So one of the ways that we can do that is by making sure that you get outside and that you get that safe sun exposure during certain times of the day to be able to best support your body. So these are the 5 pillars that I work from. And this is why I'm a behavioral-based dietitian, is because these behaviors that you engage in on a daily basis in these buckets of your health really add up to you feeling your best. So it's not just the diet, right? Like, so if your diet's on point, but say you're stressed the F out because you're so worried about getting everything on your diet just perfect, then you're probably not feeling your best. Or if your nutrition is on point and you're sleeping, but you're not moving and maybe you lack purpose and joy and you're not getting time outside, again, you're not going to feel your best. So as much as possible, we want to support these 5 areas to come together in harmony and in balance for you to feel your best. Okay, I could certainly go on and on about this because I am so passionate for you to expand your definition of what it means to care for yourself far beyond the food that's on your plate. Now, certainly the food matters, but also it all matters because you matter. And that's what I help my coaching clients create for their lifestyle that works for them, that's created for them, not for their coworker, their best friend, their husband, whoever else is out there, the influencer that's saying you should do this. No, no, no. We want to know, what does that mean for you, not for them? Okay, so if this is a topic of interest, I would love for you to comment below or share with me, DM me on Instagram. Share with me some of your main takeaways. I'd love to continue this conversation. Until next time, keep talking shit.